This is Hello New Suburbanism, Part 6. It's the final installment in this series, and it brings us back to the original predicament of how are mom and pops to survive the consequences of the current economic crisis. Most of the preceding has come from various expert sources. Here, though, near the end of the series, I feel qualified after working in the small business community for many years to include some observations of my own as well. I've concluded that there are two ways for a small business or retailer to approach the future. If they're complacent, expecting to soon pick up business as usual, I fear that they're apt to be disappointed. If, on the other hand, they choose a proactive approach, there's a door labeled success, and opportunity is the key. One of those opportunities might be found by examining the human factor, or lack thereof, which is and will continue to be missing if the economic status quo is maintained. I said early in the series, and it bears repeating here, that people are basically tired of being cooped up. And it's more than just a quest for service, as many are really sort of desperate for ways to interact with others. It's more of an apprehension and not something to be measured except anecdotally. In which case, the evidence is ubiquitous and the future of bricks and mortar is secure. For example, recently some cities, Alexandria included, are taking steps to allow pedestrian-only zones in popular eating and shopping areas. The codes are relaxed to allow shops and restaurants to expand into the street. The public response has been positive and overwhelmingly in support of the notion that recreational shopping is an essential element of the human condition. In a way, it's the foundational precept supporting the concept of a brand. Barry Beck, the COO of Blue Mercury, said back in 2017, it's nearly impossible to fully actualize a brand without brick and mortar. And I doubt his opinion has changed much post-pandemic. And further, I think it challenges the very idea of a brand. Suddenly, a brand is moved from abstraction back into the area of a more tangible symbol, which is where it enters my world. Recently, I just listened to a webinar by a local small business SEO guru. He was recommending that a user set up a website like an actual store with departments and wayfinding signs. It isn't the first time that I've come across the analogy which points directly to the idea of bricks and mortar as a media channel. And it may be shopping malls that are faced with ever escalating instances of store closings and holding large blocks of real estate are going to be the first to take some action in this direction. Smart owners and developers are making efforts to rebrand themselves around community building, healthcare, fitness, and other services. The tenant mix is diverse and varied, and it's supported by and used to support the new brand. One thing has led to another, as they're wont to do, and there's even been talk of mall owners buying out failing retailers. And actually, it's a bit more than talk, as Simon Property is part of a group recently formed to buy Forever 21 and Aristotle out of bankruptcy. And now there's a joint venture between Simon and Brookfield to take over JCPenney's. Of course, these are projections and are premature, but just think of the possibilities. They're really quite exciting and conjure what is termed the boomerang effect. The word boomerang, of course, implies a comeback, and that's exactly what it means in terms of market and related design trends. Shopping malls may be the first to understand this, but they're not alone, as there are many new opportunities created by holes left in the market, even by the possibility that specialty stores could eventually become rare. I have personally watched as a birdwatcher shop, a kitchenware shop, a toy store, and an ethnic shop and a theme-related gift shop have all gone out of business. It's human nature to want what is not available, and the very notion of rare creates demand. We've previously stressed the importance of safety, and want to look at it again here separately, except to say that there's an opportunity involved with the idea of local is safe. This can be good for neighborhood shopping centers, especially those who unify the tenants around a marketing message and tenant mix, I might add. Sometimes very little actual adjustment to the physical space is required. It might be merely a function of advertising and signage. Also, the leap from safety to health is short and important. Health and fitness related products and services have been a prospering area even before COVID-19. How much so after? Any already in this business and able to pivot have an opportunity to prosper. One strategy, for example, might be to partially convert gym-type exercise areas into sales space for videos, equipment, and health-related products. Another promising area of activity that could be on the horizon has to do with what I call the out-of-stock disorder. No shopper having lived through the toilet paper shortage of early COVID note would argue that recently supply chains have been in a state of disarray. We're told that this is a function of distribution and not shortages. If so, it's likely to continue long enough to permanently affect the psychology of shoppers and create new opportunities for astute retailers. Those who understand that guaranteed supply chain of carefully curated merchandise could provide grounds for a new business model. Stores currently offering bulk products might easily transition to this type. We talked about concept stores, think ABC for other products, and the idea of fill from inventory that was previously mentioned. These are all new in terms of store planning because of the space needed to present, move, and store large but limited inventories. They also require that the store be organized around diverse pickup and delivery methods. Again, it's an area of great potential. It's not long before discussions of new store planning types lead directly to talk of new real estate arrangements, especially in terms of repurposing. This is another trend that has more accelerated per COVID-19 than new. I've personally worked on projects where the retailer has moved his entire operation to a commercial warehouse type location because the cost of retail real estate is out of reach. I think that's about to change, maybe not right away, but soon. There's just too much empty office and retail space out there, and I think even the miles of new urbanist development, either built or booked, may eventually begin to offer affordable relocation options for all the small businesses that they've been displacing. Nothing like a financial squeeze to encourage creativity. It's easy to imagine things like upper floor restaurants, like think Tokyo. Mixed use that is really mixed, like offices with their own schools, daycare, and health clinics, and this is currently happening. Neither is it confined to commercial space only. Ripples may even be felt in the residential environment as a dynamic business community is attractive to residents as well. For me, as an architect working in this environment, I'm continually surprised by the inventiveness of my clients. The possibilities are exciting. In terms of exciting, there's another possible retail model out there, and it has to do with the difficult situation that the department stores are in. I see a parallel between the huge megastore model and department stores. I'm admittedly old enough to remember when flagship department stores like Macy's were every bit as big as IKEA. A distinguishing feature of IKEA is that they are and have always been both a showroom and a fulfillment type destination. People travel to visit these stores and are rewarded for their efforts with easy parking, miles of display, food, and services. Since the main physical difference between them is one of location, it doesn't take much to mentally pull out an IKEA and plug in a Macy's. This, of course, leads one to envision potential locations for the imagined department store prototype. From there, it's an easy leap to various underused or empty shopping malls. Maybe Simon and others are onto something by making a deal with J.C. Penney's. There's another piece to this model too, and it has to do with size as well. Many big retailers, IKEA, Macy's, Amazon included, are building small stores in carefully considered, often urban locations with curated and localized inventories. Suddenly, we're looking at a planet with many satellites. It's a model better positioned to deal with virtual sales and the related merchandise delivery requirements, while at the same time offering a real, tangible experience for the all but forgotten window shopper. When this whole idea is taken to its natural limit, it becomes even more compelling by including space for shop and shops, rotating pop ups, customized product and service providers that add richness and complexity to the entire model. This is not out of the question. Pre COVID, Macy's was actually experimenting with product displays for selected Facebook advertisers. And the last time I looked, Etsy has over 1 million vendors, many looking for opportunities to test out bricks and mortar. What a positive vision of the future. Not only small business, but for not only for small business, but also consumers. Finally, if I try to be objective, I'm forced to ask, does not all this describe the very human scale new urbanist environment that city planners and community leaders have been wishing for and trying to recreate in mixed use developments for years? Further, has not COVID-19 forced this to become more of a spread out, even suburban model? Has not the human factor always transcended the ravages of wars, depressions, and yes, even epidemics? Sometimes it comes down to a matter of waiting for the right time and mostly the right place for it to find its latest expression. I would like to conclude this series by pointing out that motivated human ingenuity is a powerful tool. If a small business takes only one overriding idea from this series, it should be that the economic future for small business, retailers, and consumers as well is not nearly so dire as we might think. As usual, check the end of the post for the references, and many thanks for watching.